No Trump.
No KKK.
No fascist USA. Okay, another one. Protesting is not a crime. L12 should do no time. Protesting is not a crime.
L12 should do no time.
Protesting is not a crime.
L12 should do no time.
Protesting is not a crime.
L12 should do no time.
And I thought of this on the way here. May not be that good, but let's try it anyway. We support J20 resistors. They're our brothers, they're our sisters. We support J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
We support J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
We support J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
And thanks for exercising your lungs. Always a good thing to do. And I'm going to bring up our first speaker, whose name is Matt, and he's from the National Lawyers Guild. Give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Check. Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Matt Mihalch. I'm here with the D.C. chapter of the National Lawyers Guild. I'm here to speak from our place among the movement lawyer community. This case represents a concerted attack on rights that we here in the district and across America have fought hard to obtain. The government is trying to escape the requirements that years of legislation and litigation have put on their police forces. For example, requirements that the police must give warnings before they can use force on a political demonstration, and restrictions on their ability to arrest people en masse. The government is trying to do this with what a law textbook might call Pinkerton liability. But I call it AUSA Kirchhoff's conspiracy theory. You know, like Bigfoot faked the moon landing. In this case, we have protesters who can transform into swarms of bees who exert gravity and gravitational pull on their own, in the words of Judge Leibovitz. The conspiracy theory is that your political speech at a public rally or on Facebook condemning capitalism is evidence that you wanted to break a window with 199 people you probably never met. The fact you didn't cancel the march and go home when a trash can fell over is evidence that you're also part of the vast left-wing conspiracy to tip the trash can over. If you have the wherewithal and experience to arrange for jail support or to prepare for the police use of chemical weapons, something that we do all the time, by the way, that's supposed to be part of the big conspiracy too. It's not much to go on, if you ask me. But the government's going on it anyway, and I think it's falling apart piece by piece. AUSA Kirchhoff continues to stick to her guns, and it remains to be seen what the judge and jury will decide. Even though...
Can we just make way quickly for someone coming through with a wheelchair?
Thank you.
All right.
Bless one.
Thank you. Blessings to you.
It seems the government wants to push the envelope as far as it thinks it can get away with in terms of prosecuting dissent and attacking protesters for exercising their rights to speak up against an exploitive, capitalist, racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic system. And the government's doing everything it can to push back on the people doing that in the most hypocritical way possible. Riots for sporting events, riots caused by the alt-right, like we saw in Charlottesville, are not prosecuted to the same degree that that quote-unquote riots of people protesting against the government seem to draw. In any case, the National Lawyers Guild and the community is not going to let the government get away with this. We're going to do everything we can to push back against this extreme and outrageous prosecution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. I just want to say a couple quick words here. I was one of the members of the core collective of the Disrupt J20 collective that organized the protest of the inauguration, and we did a ton of shit that day to set a tone of resistance against the Trump regime. We had at least 12 blockades of streets going into the parade route. We had a march of 10,000 people that was the Festival of Resistance. We had 800 to 1,000 people in the anti-capitalist, anti-fascist bloc. And the government clearly singled out the folks they thought could most be marginalized, demonized, and suppressed, because they really want to suppress the entirety of the resistance and enable themselves to run roughshod over union rights, black rights, Muslim, and trans rights in this country. And we have to stand up and say a clear, loud, and proud no to all of that, and defend our right to protest, and defend all that we have accomplished in this last year. Because Trump came in with an ambitious agenda to rip apart all kinds of things, and he's done a number of terrible things through executive orders, but he has been held back by courts. He's been held back by the inability of his own party to get itself together in Congress, and all those are symptoms of the tumult that we have created and people like us have created all across this country by taking to the streets and resisting. And that is one of our key messages to everyone who's out here, is that what we do matters, what we say matters, and what we believe in matters. And we have to fight and aspire to live in a society completely unlike the one we currently are oppressed by. So right now I'm going to introduce our next speaker. It's Chip Gibbons from the group Defending Rights and Dissent. Chip, are you here? Please be here. I'm looking like a fool. Oh, okay. Sorry, we're going to change plans. So Jude Ortiz from Defend J20.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Jude. I am with Defend J20 Resistance. The support structure, better? Yeah. Here? Okay, cool. That exists, that has formed to defend these, all these defendants, support and stand in solidarity. I have been in a lot of different courtrooms across the country, helping people fight charges, helping people defend against state repression. This courthouse is not very different from a lot of those. The thing that has in common that brings everybody here on a morning like today is that the state exists in these ways, the state works in these ways to target our communities, target our movements, target our resistance. And there's not much that's actually all that surprised about what's happening here today. So if anybody's surprised about what's happening in the courtroom, maybe it's because it's new to you, maybe it's because you're not familiar with how the state works. But this is all kind of part and parcel of how that system operates. And the things that are happening in this courtroom that have really been striking to me are that the different charges that they lay down on people, they're going to vary across time. The ways that the court works is going to vary across time. But the things that are the same is that what's happening right now is that the prosecutors in there laying down some extreme works of fiction. And this looks like a courthouse on the outside. It seems maybe it's more like a writing laboratory on the inside. The prosecutor is making up some stuff that has been really outlandish so far. What you've been hearing in court so far is that the DC police were outnumbered, that they were scared, that they had no idea how to control things in the streets. What's actually true, what's actually happening is that the DC police were working in an operation with all these different police departments and our federal departments, whatnot, to control things in the streets. And one of the police commanders, Commander DeVille, had a audio recording that's played very early on in court, basically saying that as a commander, he'd already decided to arrest everybody before they left Logan Circle. Oh. And that is not surprising. That is how things work. That's what they do. They say, we're going to call this gathering a criminal gathering, we're going to call it a riot, we're going to call it whatever we need to in order to justify our police operations and our operations to suppress dissent and restrict people's freedom of movement and association. None of that is surprising. That's how this system works. And what our comrades are facing with up to 60 years in prison for most of the defendants right now, that's also how that system works. And so when people are here in solidarity, in resistance, everybody gathering here this morning, that is how we have to work to defend our comrades and to help people fight through weeks or maybe even more than a month of trial, fighting for their freedom. And this resistance and solidarity, everybody here right now, is a crucial part of helping these defendants go through all of this fiction, all the things that the different police officers and government officials, whatever, will get on the stand to say, that all these different things happen. And we know what actually happened is that the state planned to prevent people from exercising any kind of rights, from being out in public, from being in resistance to showing resistance. However you want to look at it, the state did this, and that's what they do day in and day out. And you see it in the streets, in the opportunities like big mobilizations and resistance. And you see that every single day in the way that capitalism works, the way that the state works to oppress entire communities of color, people like gender nonconforming, immigrant communities, all that, all those very broad systemic things. This is one manifestation, and our resistance to that, to all those broad systems, is also part of our resistance to these charges and being in solidarity with the defendants. So everything we're doing, everything, being out here, being in there, listening to all their lies, listening to how they create all these elaborate systems and processes in order to keep us oppressed and keep us downtrodden. Being here in resistance is part of fighting that. So thank you all so much for coming out here. DefendJ20resistance.org is where you go for updates. You can see that right there on this lovely sign. Thanks for coming out here. Thanks for being in support of the defendants. Thanks for looking so fabulous. And keep it up. Keep coming back every single day. We're not having rallies every single day, but we're going to be in the court, packing the courtroom, letting the defendants know, letting them see, letting everybody know that we have their back. We stand in solidarity. We're not afraid. We're not going away. We're going to be here until all of our comrades are free, all 194.
That was dope, thank you. Okay, so I just want to say quickly that the prosecution of these defendants is not happening in a vacuum, and it's not happening without historical context. Urban rebellions in which there's some amount of property destruction have been a feature of U.S. political life for decades. This city has home rule based on the results of an urban rebellion following King's assassination. And at the same time as these J20 defendants are facing these charges, black trans women of color in Charlotte are bearing the brunt of police repression over the Charlotte rebellion, where they're saying those folks conspired to create a riot. And J20, the threat is very real that the entire movement for Black Lives Matter, could be branded a terrorist organization by Jeff Sessions and his Justice Department. So we have to defend all of our comrades, all of our sisters and brothers, and we have to defend the importance of a diversity of tactics in this movement, because different strategies, different approaches work at different times and places depending on your target, and we can't allow the state to put us in the position of being the protest police, telling people how and when, what is the best way to fight, how to do it, and what has to be done. We have to defend the right of communities to determine how to best defend their own interests and and assert their own power in this society. I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and I'm going to try to let the banner be seen, but his name is Chip Gibbons, and he's with Defending Rights and Dissent.
Hello, my name is Chip Gibbons. I'm with Defending Rights and Dissent, which was found... Louder, okay. My name is Chip Gibbons. I'm with Defending Rights and Dissent, which was formed in 1960 to fight the House American Un-Activities Committee in McCarthyism, and we're still fighting all state organs that you seek to repress political dissent. I was sitting in the courthouse on Monday morning listening to Jennifer Kirchhoff's opening statement, and she said something very interesting to me. She said, I want to be totally clear. We can't link any of the 6 people over here we want to put in jail for 60 years to a single act of property destruction. And what that means is that regardless of what the charges say, crime is not breaking a window, it's not rioting, it's being at a protest, it's engaging in political dissent. And she says there's a conspiracy, and she's right. There's a conspiracy, and it started when the police decided, before the protesters even left Logan Circle, that they were going to arrest them. The conspiracy continued on when the police rounded up 234 people in an unconstitutional, indiscriminate mass arrest based solely on their proximity to an alleged crime and based on the fact that they were participating in a protest. And they didn't just get protesters, they got journalists, they got legal observers, they got street knights. And the conspiracy continues on now as the prosecution brings these ridiculous, outrageous, and quite frankly bullshit felony charges against people whose only crime is dissent. It's a conspiracy to silence dissenting voices, and it's happening all over this country, and not in a vacuum. We see across the country when people of color-led movements tried at Standing Rock and in Ferguson try to stand up for the basic proposition that they are a human and have human rights. They're met with police with tanks, with military gear that's used in the occupations we wage overseas, because that's how the police view the situation, as though they're an occupying and invading foreign army. And we see it across the country with state legislators trying to pass anti-protest bills. In Oregon, the legislator is considering making civil disobedience a felony called economic terrorism. In Arizona, they considered a bill to allow, it's not passed, to allow prosecutors to bring RICO charges. Those are the charges meant for the mafia against protest organizers, and property destruction occurs. And all over the country as well, they're trying to take away our right to boycott non-violently, to stand up for the basic human rights of the Palestinians who have been struggling for decades against colonialism and apartheid. And they're explicitly singling out movements that challenge capitalism, that challenge white supremacy, that challenge militarism, and they're trying to send a message, and that message is we need to be quiet, but we're going to send a message right back to the prosecution that we're not going to be silent, we're not going to be intimidated, we're not going to be afraid, we're going to continue speaking out against capitalism, against white supremacy, against colonialism, and we're going to stand in solidarity with all targets and victims of state repression.
Thank you, Chen. I'm just going to say a couple of things right now, because we were expecting April Goggins from Black Lives Matter DC, and she hasn't arrived yet, but I just want to speak as a member of the steering committee of the Movement for Black Lives. There was so much amazing energy on J20. We had a labor blockade, we had unions coming out in force, standing locally saying we're going to resist the Trump regime. There was a Movement for Black Lives blockade involving Black Lives Matter activists from other black-led groups around police brutality and police resistance and racism that was supported by white allies and activists and co-conspirators. We had blockades of the Futurist Feminist, which is now a vibrant organization. There were literally a dozen of those, and I think that we have to defend all of that and say that when Kirchhoff goes after the J20 defendants, she's really going after the entirety of the resistance, and we have to say absolutely no to that kind of repression. But just in terms of this particular issue of what this means for black folks in the city, the brunt of police repression in the city is very much borne by black, poor, and working class people. I've been in this courthouse more times than I have needed to in my life, and you walk in and it's like, it's just, the city is gentrifying, but the people being arrested are of one primary hue, and that is mine and darker. And that's the social terrain in which the Movement for Black Lives has emerged, and hundreds of people literally gather on a monthly basis to talk about how to best build resistance to this and how to envision alternatives to policing, alternatives to racist oppression that could actually meet the needs of communities and meet the mental health needs that also often lead people to self-medication and into things that get described as crime. So April isn't here, but since she's not here, let's chant with the key chant of the Black Lives Matter movement. Black lives, they matter here. So I'm going to lead it, you follow. Black lives, they matter here.
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 Black women matter here.
Black women matter here.
Black women matter here.
Black women matter here.
Black trans, they 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 matter here.
Black lives, 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 they matter here.
We defend J20 resistors.
We defend J20 resistance.
No, you all were supposed to remember the second half of it. I can't say everything. I have cute skirts, but I don't do everything. All right. So we defend J20 resistors. They're our brothers, they're our sisters. We defend J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
We defend J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
We defend J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
We defend J20 resistors.
They're our brothers, they're our sisters.
Okay. We have a special guest. This is gonna be okay. Here's our. She needs no introduction. April Goggins.
I got these gloves on. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad. This crowd keeps getting bigger and bigger, and that's so dope. I'm here on behalf of Black Lives Matter DC. And basically, we continue to show up for J20. As you know, for us, they could and are us, and we could and are them, be them. So, and the thing that we just continue to highlight is that this isn't new, and the way that the DC police polices, the way they police, the inauguration is the way that they police Black and brown communities every day, and so for us, this is an extension of that. So if we fight it in our hoods, we're going to fight it here. It also, as we continue to resist here and across the country, are seeing anti-protest laws, anti-protest sympathizers, I guess, everywhere, so that it makes resisting at this point in time dangerous. It's always been dangerous, but more so now. So it's really important for all of our communities of resistance to continue to support, like actively and visibly, against state repression in all of its forms. So I want to encourage everybody to continue to come. Please pass around and tweet and all of those things, all of the fundraisers. This stuff is expensive. We don't have what the government has because, you know, why would we? So make sure that you continue to support. If y'all want to throw a fundraiser, hit up any of the people here that you see from Defend J20, and do what you can to make sure that this continues to get national attention and the support that it needs. Thanks.
All right, thanks, April. So let's close out. We are confident that we can win. The prosecution's case is ridiculous. Essentially, wearing black proves that you're conspirators to do whatever the hell they want to assert that we're trying to do. And I think we can win, but it's going to take a lot of solidarity. It's going to take more actions like this. It's going to take people packing the courts. It's going to take getting our brothers and sisters in Maryland and Virginia who have congressional representatives to call those people to lobby Kirchhoff to say she needs to back off. We need to make a national scene over this obscene abuse of police and prosecutorial power. We have to say that we will not be intimidated. We are not afraid. We are conscious of the need for security in our movements, but we are not going to stop fighting. We're not going to stop organizing. We're not going to stop recruiting people to our side, because that's what it's going to take to win. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of people in this city who want to be part of that. And we are the core of what's going to build that kind of power. So let's, I'm glad that so many people came out, and let's go inside, and if people are going inside, let's strategize about how to best take the energy from this action forward. I mean, this is a really great turnout for an action that was planned sometime in the middle of last week, I believe. So, you know, clearly, and at 8 in the morning. So let's wrap up. All right, thanks for coming out. Much love.
So for anyone who just tuned in, doesn't quite know what's going on, we're here outside D.C. Superior Court in Washington, D.C. We're about a week into the trial of a group of people who were mass arrested on January 20th, protesting Donald Trump's inauguration. Last week was like jury selection and a few different motions hearings, and today we're going to be hearing from some prosecution witnesses and stuff. I'm going to take the stream down in a second here and go into court and start taking some notes. But if you want to see the reports we're going to come out with, go to our website, unicornriot.ninja. Also, click on the tab that says support our work if you want to help us continue doing coverage like this. Thanks for watching.
So just, hey, really quick, can I get everyone's attention? A last minute addition to the program, a brave activist disrupted the ceremony for the Trans Day.
The police disrupted. Let's say it right, yeah.
I'll let her speak.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I wanted to come today and show my solidarity. I think it's wrong that they're arresting peaceful protesters and journalists. I'm a journalist. I'm also a trans women educator. Recently, at the Trans Day of Remembrance, Chief Newsom, or News Ham, he really is a News Ham, isn't he? That's how you spell his name. That's who he really is. He tried to literally hijack our memorial and our ceremony to use it as a marketing prop for the police department because he knew today was about to happen and you guys were all going to speak truth to power. So he tried to use our community as a prop. It's called pink washing, right? Raise your hand if you've heard of pink washing. Or now it's blue washing. So it was very traumatizing and triggering that he was going to try to use the murdered trans women and men. 3 trans women alone in 2017 have been killed by the police. Okay? 3. Okay? And it's wrong. They harass trans people in DC, they stalk them, they profile them, they throw them in cages, they sexually assault them. And Chief Newsom is an abuser. He's a known abuser, he's a known rape apologist, and he's also known for taking away the rights of people who are just voicing dissent. Okay, voicing dissent is not a crime. Anyways, we succeeded in ejecting him from the stage. Unfortunately, it took a lot of pain and trauma, and the white trans and the white LGBT community is trying to victim blame us, but that's just what they do. You know what I mean? How dare you put your blood-stained boots on our stage? And so I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of you guys, what you did on January 20th. I was scared because I know, you guys, I appreciate what you guys did. And again, please don't let the police usurp and co-opt the Trans Day of Remembrance. This is a sacred day where we honor our dead. It's not an opportunity for the police department to look like they care, because they don't care. Okay, they assault trans people all the time and murder them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, carry on. Thank you.